Welcome to Control Talk Now, your smart buildings video cast and podcast for the week ending March 13th, 2016. My name is Eric Stromquist. I am your host. But what is a host without a great co-host? And I am joined, as usual, by my co-host, the best in the business, the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only. The only thing I'm good for is introducing them, Kenny Smyers, the man from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Kenny, welcome back to another week of Control Talk.
Thank you very much, Eric. It's very difficult to come in behind such a gaudy introduction like that. I mean, I hope we live up to half of that. That's very good. You should make a living in this business. You're good at it, and it's inspiring. Thank you for letting me play along here. It's a great show. It's a great concept. We are so busy. I'm getting nervous because we have probably 18 posts to cover in a short while, plus a great interview with Ken St. Clair. So we got a lot
going on, my man. We do. But hey, just as you guys know, we weren't there last week, primarily because the man, the myth, the legend, his brother Dave Smyers did such a great job selling product that they were out on a rewards trip. So Kenny, congratulations to that. That's DMS Controls Group, your control source out of Pennsylvania. So good job there, Kenny Smyers.
Thank you very much. And with all good things, something happens to remember your stay. And I got myself I have an operation coming up on Tuesday because I snapped the bicep, the distal tendon from my bicep to my lower arm snapped, and I have to get an operation to reattach it on Tuesday. So
that's bad news, Kenny. But
I'm injured.
Yeah, but rumor has it, big dog, that you got a hole in one on that thing, man. You just whacked the hell out of a golf ball, man. So it either happened there or somebody said something bad about the man, the myth, the legend, and well, rumors will fly, but let's just say you don't want to mess with the man.
Yeah, well, you're helping me out here, but the truth was that it wasn't an altogether missed shot. It was about 20 yards short, but I hit a little bit behind the ball. But
what are you talking about? A little bit behind the ball, man. They're saying there's a new meteor dent in Arizona where you were playing.
This is a lot of fun, but I'm a little disappointed because I was really looking forward to the golf season, and I'm going to be on the bench for about 3 months. So.
That's a bummer, big guy. Well, listen, let's get down to it, man. We had a lot of great news on Control Talk. We're going to make up for the last couple of weeks. So, Kenny, let's hop right on it. What was our first post from 2 weeks ago?
Okay, Eric. EasyIO FG32 BACnet listing update. The Easy Stack training. All the above. We had Easy Stack training in Melbourne and Sydney, and then we had an announcement from MC Chi, the senior development engineer at EasyIO. They're delighted that their FG32 and FG20 passed the BTL testing with flying colors, 100% results, and true BACnet controller, BTL listed. So congratulations to EasyIO. And Mike Marston is at the ISH show in Frankfurt. It's their version of the ASHRAE show. Not quite ASHRAE. It's a little bit more about to do with water and some other things, but it's going on in Frankfurt right now. So EasyIO is staying in that global thing from Melbourne to Germany, and keep it going, Mike.
That's right. Mike Marston, the hardest working man in show business. And Kenny, a special shout out to our friend Richard McElhaney down under, as well as Chris Snyder, big Controltrends contributors and viewers, as well as our audience in Australia. You guys keep on keeping on. What do we have up next, Kenny Smyers?
Next up is KMC Controls, the next generation of building automation. KMC is really, truly pumping it out. They've got a social media effort that pulses every week, maybe 2-3 times a week, with all kinds of good information. They did this past week was about the history, the KMC, how it got started. It's a great video to watch. It's 6 minutes long, and it really goes into the in-depth evolution of controls as through the perspective of KMC. So KMC has training opportunities available throughout March, but they're really focusing on their total control with the KMC Connect. The course description is on our website, but it provides information on installation, integration, and operation of the KMC Conquest hardware using the KMC Connect Lite, the KMC Connect, and the total control software. Well done, KMC.
Well, those guys are on the move, Kenny, as you know, and we talk an awful lot about the race to the small space, and I think EasyIO and the KMC Conquest are two very, very strong contenders in that. And then what we mean by that is there's so many smaller buildings out there now, and building automation and analytics is becoming very, very affordable via companies like EasyIO and KMC. And then, hey, I tell you what, Kenny, that gets into some of the fun stuff. As you know, we've been putting the video collateral up on our awards winners. We're about finished with that. But I think it started out last week with the 2015 Controltrends Awards highlight. And what was it for, Kenny Smyers?
Well, first up, we have Patrick Dumas of Iconics wins Best Technical Support Person, Small Manufacturer. And Patrick Dumas, I've known Patrick for many, many years, and he's just a great guy. But he's the Senior Technical Support Representative at Iconics, which, of course, is owned by Schneider Electric. Iconics is in Canada. They're headquartered in Montreal, and they were founded 30 years ago in the field of industrial process controls and have quickly become a leader in embedded microcontroller-based technologies and just have one of the best thermostats or room controllers, however you want to call it, in the business. But there's always issues. There's always to do with network integration, backnet issues, concerns, or whatever. And the go-to guy is Patrick Dumas. So congratulations, Patrick.
Yeah, congratulations, Patrick. And not to be outdone, that was the small manufacturer. Coming right after that, we had our Controltrends Awards highlight, honoring a guy that many, many people were happy to see win this award, Best Technical Support, Large Manufacturing. Kenny, tell us a little bit about John Hutchie.
I will. Eric, he's, again, it's just a very prolific name in the business. He's behind the curtains, often doing the heavy lifting, finding out how things work. He's responsible for all the tools that really effectively make the Spider and Striker work. John's role involves supporting channel partners in the sales, design, and commissioning of open systems projects. His primary focus is supporting contractors to ensure successful integrations on Niagara platforms, featuring the web's product portfolio. Congratulations, John Hutchie, but well deserved, very well deserved.
Yeah, very, very well deserved. And I tell you what, you know you're in good company when you win an award that James Johnson from Vicon's won the last several years. And I think James was very happy to see John Hutchie get his shot up on stage, bringing home the trophy. All right, what do we have up next, Ken?
Well, next up we have Ken St. Clair's Automated Buildings release, the March 2016 Project Haystack open for mashing. So in this March 2016 edition, Ken St. Clair, the owner.
Well, hang on a second, Kenny. Why don't we just bring Ken on? We got him waiting. Instead of us doing this, hey, Ken St. Clair, come on the show. First of all, Kenny, introduce Ken St. Clair, and let's bring him on the show to tell us what's going on.
Our next guest is Mr. Ken St. Clair, one of our favorites. He's the owner-editor of AutomatedBuildings.com. And this interview, we're going to talk about the March issue, which is themed Project Haystack, Open for Mashing. Welcome to the show, Ken St. Clair.
Hey, welcome, Ken.
Thanks, guys. Always fun to be on Controltrends.
Well, we love having you, Ken. So tell us a bit about the theme of this week's episode, this month's episode on AutomatedBuildings.com.
Okay, this was actually a first for us. It's the first time we've actually carried a supplement or an ad to our online magazine. So that was kind of fun, and we're also pleased that was the Haystack Connections, their first magazine. So it was kind of fun to take that to the industry. Therese has done an amazing job of pulling this together. Therese Sullivan, one of our contributing editors, and also of Context Me, her own company. Yes, it's been great. We've got good support from the Haystack community. The thing that I found intriguing is that it seemed to wake up a few sleeping giants, which is always fun. I think they've been kind of hearing about it and trying to ignore Haystack, and I think a lot of what's happening is a lot of the folks haven't really done a lot of work in the big data space, and so they don't really understand some of the problems that are there, and they're kind of looking to just standards to evolve that will include this. So it's kind of, I think, added a little bit of acceleration The other thing I found intriguing is it opened up a whole new subject of open source. Of course, the project Haystack is an open source project, which we all know about, but that led to some of the work that Contemporary Controls was doing, one of the articles they provided on their Sedona editor, and that led to on birthing a community there that is attempting to put open source as an integral part of the products. And actually that has led to many more revelations in the industry that we are definitely moving towards open source, which makes sense because it's an integral part of the IoT, and more we're having to imitate and become fully integrated into the IoT.
So talk to us. So you sort of coined a phrase in this week's episode called mashing and meshing.
Yeah, well, of course, the whole idea of mashing is very much an IoT. It's basically how IoT is built. Actually, Alper, in his article, chats a little bit about that and expounds on it. Basically, what the kids today do is when they're building products or building games or whatever it is they're building, they go and find as big of pieces as they can that are sort of moving in the direction they want to go, and they copy them over and they build on these open source pieces. And it helps the speed of development. And we haven't really been using that technique. We've all been trying to develop our own approach to this. And so it's a different way of looking at the world for sure. And the concept of mashing, you probably know more about it from a music point of view too, Eric, is the whole idea of just people coming together and doing their own thing and then sort of seeing how it all fits together and creating something completely new. And that's probably the best concept to think of how mashing is going to work in our industry.
Very, very cool. And so the concept of the e-zine, so speak about that. You talk about the e-zine in your opening.
Yeah, that's what the Haystack folks chose to call their online magazine. Actually, is a downloadable PDF. We fiddled with a bunch of formats, and that's problematic. Just with everyone having so many different platforms, bringing your own device and bringing your own browsers and stuff. I think on the automated building sites, we actually have to support 1,000 combinations of devices and browsers, if you can believe it. And it's unbelievable what you get hit with. It's somebody will say, well, hey, I can't see, this doesn't display right. And you take a look at it. If you can find the device that they're using or simulate the device they're using, they're quite right. It doesn't work. So you have to either tweak the HTML code or go to more tried and true things like PDFs to kind of get around that. So it's hard when you're trying to get out to the masses on mini devices.
Cool. Hey, Ken, the thing I was reading on that really caught my eye with the e-zine was that you were at that smart building meetup organized by VLab, and there was a couple of guys there, but one of them was kind of outside our industry. And when I got tell us about that, about the ontology problem and the taxonomy. So are other people outside of us wondering what we're doing, why we don't have a common, like why tagging hasn't prevailed or whatever? Was that the gist of that?
Yeah, I believe so. And of course, the other thing is that that's what big data is all about, is that you start overlaying temperature data with whether the lights are on, and you might even start overlaying it with the light levels, and you start seeing relationships we've never seen before. So the only way you can actually make any sense of that is with proper tagging. The tagging problem is big data is not unique to our industry, so the discussion from other industries, I think, is very positive. And I'm not naive enough to believe that Haystack is the only way of doing this. And actually, BACnet, in their moving ahead, has kind of acknowledged that as well, as they've acknowledged that there is a need have more information about the data that they're moving, but they don't want to be tied to any one particular standard or open source as well, which I can understand, because this is going to evolve rapidly, and the IT industry may come up with a standard, or if Google says this is the way we're going to do it, then that's probably the way we're going to do it. But for the between time, this seems like the best solution we have.
Very, very cool, Kim. Well, listen, talking about our friend Alper from BASSG Graphics. He had a nice article in this week's edition called about the EAC, the Energy Analytic Controller, and sort of moving things to the edge. Speak a bit about that, if you would.
Yeah, that seems to be a common trend that we're seeing. Is this whole the controllers are becoming lower cost and more powerful, and that enables us to actually just store all this data on the side. It also allows us possibly not even to do anything with it until we actually need it, which is a different concept as well. So it's intriguing when you look at the evolution from the early DDC systems, where memory was always our problem, having enough memory within these panels. And now we can, of course, every controller looks more like a cell phone and has bags of memory and can remember, probably what happened for the last few months on a device level. So it's a whole moving of data from the clouds out to the actual devices. That actually, where it is actually more useful, because somebody may come at that device and ask it a different question that nobody ever anticipated.
Very, very cool. Well, sort of speaking of moving big data, we also had our friend Varun Najarat from Sierra Monitoring. Actually, did a nice post with you talking about, sort of using the industrial side, bringing it into the BAS side. And he also has a webinar coming up in March. Yes,
I think that's great. And it's interesting that everybody is kind of arriving at the same place at the same time. Of course, I think our last month's issue leads into our April issue, which will be probably our open source, our future. Is open source our future? And I think we're seeing more and more. I always find it interesting when there's a big trend shift in the industry that it sort of comes out and it's sort of like, wow, this is a wild idea. I wonder if anybody else is thinking about it. And once you throw it out there, ironically enough, everybody's thinking about it. And there's a lot of opinions and even a lot of work done. So what we're going to attempt to do in the April issue is to try and capture as much of that as we can. So I've actually put a few requests out in a few places on social media to see if we can get some input. And we already have some pretty neat stuff in the works.
Well, shifting gears, Ken, I think that this March edition probably had so much information in it. But one of the things I like is some of your contributing editors, Manny Mandrusiak, that Demise of 9 to 5. That's pretty cool too. How back in the old days we used to get up 4:30, 5 o'clock, and everybody, all the professionals were around certain time periods, and everything that we used to, all our sweet spots are disappearing. So that was a pretty cool article. What were your thoughts about that?
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought that one up, because that's Manny not only talks the talk, he walks the walk. Because I don't know if you go way back in automated buildings issues, and if you search out Manny or go to his editorial page, you'll see that he started for us many years ago writing for a company out of Edmonton, Macatron or something, an industrial OPC company. And then he actually worked for the OPC Foundation. And then his dad was failing here in Victoria, so he actually moved back and created a virtual company doing marketing. So he has great insight into our industry and is spending a lot of time in educating the Millennium folks. So he's kind of a rare combination And I actually too enjoy his articles, and he and I get together every once in a while for a beer and just chat about things. So it's a good transition, I think, is to see somebody come out of the industry and kind of move into the training of the people. And I think he has great insight to help the industry change.
Well, we always on that thing, the young guns and the the non-traditional way. We got to get people back and basically revive our image and revive our industry. We were able to post that Johnson Controls white paper, Changing Demographics in the HVACR Industry. And that actually was probably the most sobering seminal document that we had, that actually had statistical information there saying just how scarce our human resources were in certain areas and what the projections. So we have an industry that's actually increasing almost twofold over the other industries, like the aviation industry, the automobile industry, some of the other industries that were typically large employers. So the HVACR industry is growing, but the people that are in it right now are going to be falling out. We have a 60% basically people that are the facility managers, the sales engineers, the consultants, the actual service mechanics. We're a 60% loss in the next 7 years. So we have got to get our engines fired up to the next level to get more, institutional support, more recognition with everybody in the educational process, and it's good to see people like Manny and everybody else continue to support what you're trying to do, what we're trying to do to get the young gun concept. I think it's all about the image. What's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think so. It's the other thing that's coming too is the millenniums are not going to approach the industry the way we have, and that's real clear. And I have the advantage of working with our young consulting company here in Vancouver and getting their opinions. And this open source, and they're actually working a little bit with BCIT, British Columbia Institute of Technology, and they're writing some courses for energy management and DDC, and they're trying to figure out the best way of doing that and working through that. But what is coming out of all of that is that we have to very much change the whole education process. It's a big portion of it has to be online. A big portion of it has to be populated by folks leading the industry. And so we really need to muster us old guys before we die and get some of this stuff that's useful documented.
Well, sounds
well
good.
said. Well said.
Well
Go
said,
ahead,
Ken.
Eric,
Well, I was just going to say, Ken, everybody's got to get a piece of raspberry pie to go along with that, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just tweeted a thing this morning that's dropped to $5. I posted one that this other device had come in at $7, and now they've got a Raspberry Pi Zero at $5. So, and actually, I was talking to some Millennium folks that the guy was controlling his greenhouses with a Raspberry Pi, and it built all of his own I/O boards. So I showed him that there was actually a product that plugged into his German KNX product that plugs into his Raspberry to give him I/O. So, yeah, interesting stuff. So that's another thing. They're used to this open. They don't understand why our industry is controlled by major control companies because of the products and stuff. Because they see that the products should be like a mosaic, like most of the stuff in the IT world. So that's going to be a transition, and I think it's going to be a tough one for the majors because there are going to be so many of them they won't be able to buy them all up.
I hear you, Ken. When you're saying that in the back of my head, I'm hearing that Beatles song. You say you want a revolution. Well, right? So I think it's coming, Ken. Our guest is Ken Sinclair from AutomatedBuildings.com. Checks with us every month. Be sure to check the March issue out. It is rocking and rolling. And Ken, I tell you what, we've got the final videos edited for the Controltrends Awards. We'll be posting Hans Kranz. You inducted Hans to the Hall of Fame. We'll be posting that next week. And then, Ken, I think the fact that you're an honorary young gun leads us to the fact that being a young gun is not a numerical age. It's an attitude.
Super.
All right. Ken, thanks for taking a few minutes to be with us, buddy.
Okay. Have a great day.
You too. Ken Sinclair,
Thanks,
automatedbuildings.com. All right, great stuff from Ken Sinclair again, Kenny. All right, man, let's get back on track. What do we have up next, big dog?
Well, Eric, while we were busy here doing, our Control Trends awards and basically continuing the highlight of the ASHRAE reel from 2016 down in Orlando, the Indian folks were having their big show, their ASHRAE equivalent, the ACRIC show 2016 in Mumbai, and we had the Samir Pradhan, the director of Control Trends India, interviewing some of the most venerated members of their ASHRAE, which is called the Indian Society of Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers, ISHRA, and he had Pankaj Dakar, the leading one of the legends in the HVAC engineering from India, and he's a smart city visionary. In fact, this guy is a very, very important person as far as overseeing the collaborative effort they're doing in India. So it's a great post, and it's just one of many. And we invite all our Control Trends viewers and our global community to visit controltrends.in India and see what's happening in India. A lot of smart moving stuff going on at Hunter City Initiative.
Well, I think there is, dude, and I think you've estimated it on different shows and done some research. Over $400 billion that they've got set aside.
Well, they've actually released it now, Eric. It's $200 billion. It's still, I don't know, the funding is it's space age numbers, but they actually announced the first 21 cities that are going to get the where they're going to start focusing the efforts. We get an update every week. Control Trends organization, we get a nice email that tells us what's happening. I'll tell you, the wheels are starting to turn. They've actually picked the first 21 cities, and now they're meeting like on a bi-weekly basis to start, allocating contracts and just really getting the wheels moving.
Well, it's great, and I think we really got with our man Samir Pradhan, the director of Control Trends India. Man, he is right in the thick of it. So again, Control Trends is a very valuable source for you to check out what's going on in India. And we're planning on within the next 2 years having a Control Trends India award show. So all our American friends and Canadian friends will have to come join us in India. All right, big dog, what we have up next?
All right, next up we have DG Logix DG-Lux 5 is a very important, takes data center infrastructure management to a new level. DG Logic's modern toolsets, one workspace, is a data-driven, all yours, and creates a first-class application that will take your data center infrastructure management solution to a whole new level. So what the DG Logix continues to do is take something that's very difficult, but very important. The whole idea of visualization, of course, has overwhelmed our industry. Everybody wants a dashboard that they can take advantage of the visualization capabilities that you can do now. And I've seen some of the new projects that DG Lux has. Go to their website, and they have some great videos, and they have some great, up-to-speed videos and presentations that tell you now where data visualization must play a role. Everybody expects it. It's now a precedent, it's a standard, and their stuff is really good. So DG Lux 5, users can quickly identify problems, find out where to investigate and make changes faster, how to make faster and more well-informed decisions to cut costs, save time, and manage large amounts of data more efficiently.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kenny, they remind me a little bit of clothes, right? I mean, you got all kinds of clothes. You got clothes that are all functional, but some of them just look really, really good. These guys have such style. I think we should call them DG Armani, because I tell you what, their graphics packages and the way they do data is just gorgeous. That data center thing, if you look at some of those videos, you'll see that, like, you can see the racks, right? And they've actually got, little hot spots they can show up where you're actually looking at red, green, or yellow, the different colors, so you can easily identify the hot spots. But I tell you what, man, those guys, Eugene Mazzo and his team, man, they have such style. And if visual aesthetics is important to you, check these guys out, because nice stuff. The DG Armani, that's what we're going to call it, the Armani series, right?
I like it.
All right, big dog. Well, I think we got back to the awards next, didn't we?
We sure did. This was the again, we have a couple more crescendo videos coming here, and maybe you want to share with what we're going to do. The final episode of the 2015 Control Trends Awards is going to be a summary video. But this is Roger Rebanak. He comes onto the stage, and he really helps deliver another jolt of professional energy. He's a great presenter. He's actually a very talented musician and singer. So he's not afraid of the stage, and he really let that be known because he helped us in the 2015 Control Trends Awards by presenting the PID award. Roger was the first PID award
recipient.
winner.
That's right.
And if anybody has the passion, integrity, and dedication, it's Roger. And he shared that with us as he helped us give out the awards to this year's recipients, Mike Marston from EasyIO and Honeywell's Larry Andrew Eunice.
Well, I've got a couple of things to say about Roger Rebanek. First of all, we accuse him of being the most exciting man in the controls industry. Because I tell you what, among other things, Kenny, he makes controls fun. He is very, very passionate about what he does. He keeps it fun. He's very technical, knows his stuff, works hard. So Raj is just a great guy, and it was so great to have him sort of present those awards. And, of course, our two recipients, very, very deserving individuals. Both of Mike and Larry are fantastic guys. And I got to tell you, I'm going to do a little pitch right now because Roger, every year, he's also known as the mayor of Indianapolis. For those who don't know, Roger grew up in Indianapolis. He's been going to the Indianapolis 500 since he was a little kid. He knows everybody there. And what Raj does every year, he takes some Honeywell customers up for what we call the Roger Rebanek experience. So your takeaway, if you're out there, reach out to your local Honeywell Building Automation Controls distributor. Tell them you want to go to the Roger Rebanek experience. They'll set up a plan for you where you can buy some great Honeywell products, but this thing is not to be missed. And this year, Kenny, is, I think, the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500. So this is going to be a monumental time to go. And I know different distributors across the country have access to this, but you have to reach out to them and say, I want to go to the Roger Rebanek experience in Indy. And you'll see people like the man, the myth, the legend, and myself there. It is just a can't miss thing. It's something you really want to go, especially this year. Kenny, I mean, the deal with Raj, he knows everybody. I mean, you said really nice hotel. While everybody else is in line, waiting for hours to get into the track, Raj actually has the Indiana State Troopers will whisk you by in a motorcade and take you right there to the front of the venue. You walk in, you do the pit tours. It's 3 or 4 days of it. So before you get to hang out in the pits and meet the drivers, it's a great experience. And who else would you want to do it with rather than Raj, right?
Well, I actually had some experience with Roger Rebanek, and everything you say is true. And I could extol the incredible experience because we got to meet some famous people. I'm trying to think of the guy I got to.
Mary Andretti is one that Raj knows real well.
Well, Mary Andretti, I met him, and he's actually from Pennsylvania, but we were up at the Pocono 400, and I had never been to the Indy 500 cars. I had no idea the speeds and how crazy fast that is, and I was able to go on a ride along. And I'll tell you what, it was one of the most exhilarating, exciting things I've ever did. It was probably as close as you're going to get to a rocket ship. When they take off, those cars accelerate at such a extraordinary, velocity. The G-force. Actually, you're going around those bends, and you can't even stick your head out the side because it's probably over 200 miles.
Well, let's just put it this way, folks. It's the biggest thrill you'll ever have with your pants on. Okay.
delete.
All right, Kenny. Well, enough said about that, but Roger did a great job with the award. So, Kenny, let's rock and roll. What do we have up next, big dog?
Well, again, we're going to keep on recognizing the heroes and the superstars in our industry. And one of the most important things after the PID award is the PTALK award. And so this year, we had just an incredible show, and Mark Peacock just brought the crowd there to their feet when he announced the winner of the 2015 Peacock Award, who was Mr. Ed Merwin. Ed Merwin is the director of Vicon Automation Energy Security at Tritium, and Ed is another. You call him the grandfather of DDC, and we would not be here, and many people would not be in the industry as they are without meeting Ed Merwin and having his enthusiasm, his incredible acumen on where building smart buildings were going, smart, connected, intelligent buildings. Ed Merwin was the first one to bring it to a lot of us. So what were your thoughts on that award?
Well, I tell you what, Ed Merwin to me is the great communicator, right? I mean, he takes the complex, puts it in terms that you can understand. Hardworking guy, great guy. So great to see him win the PTALK Award. The PTALK Award was named for Mark Peacock, and it's all about, individuals that go above and beyond, and not just for their companies, but for their industry. They sort of serve the greater good. They're fierce competitors. They're the type of guys that'll knock your head off if you're competing with them, but by the same token, will pick you back up and get you going again because they play a bigger game, and I think that's probably the best way to describe it. They play a bigger game, and Ed Merwin's certainly fitting into that, Kenny. And I tell you what, speaking of that, the big event coming up in the spring in May, the first part of May, is the Niagara Summit in New Orleans. You can see Ed and Mark and all the other greats there will be there. So if you haven't registered for that yet, make sure to get your place for that event. And Kenny's typing. He's efforting right now. I can see him. He's going to give you the dates as we speak. I think it's May 3rd through the 7th or something like that, isn't it?
Well, we actually have a post coming up on it, Eric. We have a post on it.
I jumped the gun. All right. Well, cool. Well, everybody, hold on.
Well, yeah. I was jumping through the keystrokes here because I had to get to our next post, and it's another great Controltrends Awards.
Tell us about it, buddy.
It was the Systems Integrator of the Year.
Oh my gosh, that was.
And that's what. Just to go back into a little bit of background. Okay, you thought that we were doing these trends, and we knew that cybersecurity was an enormous trend. But one of the most important trends that we learned, especially when ESI was bought by CB Richard Ellis, that the master systems integrator, the pursuit of the holy grail of systems integrators, is actually a very, very, very interesting, and I think popular. These guys are heroes too in many ways. They do the incredible integrations on the highest levels. Taking these vertical integrations, hospitals, and these gigantic complexes. There's commercial buildings involving every single disparate system there, from the elevators, the lighting, or whatever, and they make it all work, and they keep it safe and they keep it secure. So out of probably 100 systems integrators that were nominated, the two winners were Hepta Control Systems and Automation Integrated. And we have a little bit to say about each one because they both are champions and superstars in their own right. Hepta Systems out of Canada, I think they really are Hepta Systems North America. Have done, they've been recognized by Realcomm. They've been recognized by the Niagara Summit 2014 for systems integrations. And then we have, Automated Integrated, who out of the,
Oklahoma City.
But out of the 100 people, they probably had the most, resounding case studies on building automation, security solutions, energy solutions, and IT solutions. They came at this from the IT side and came into the integration. And by the way, that little motion I did with my arm hurt. So I hope people appreciate this hand and arm.
The man, the myth, the legend does feel pain, ladies and gentlemen. He does. But you should see the other guys.
I have a prescription, so I'm not. No, I'm kidding. But I tell you what, it was just really impressive. People involved in our industry, and Eric, our goal of recognizing these people, really paid off this year because the happiness of these guys when they were announced, it was like watching the Sylvester Stallone win the Academy Award.
Well, I tell you what, Hepta is fantastic, and a lot of people accuse Ted Houck of starring in Breaking Bad. If you've never seen Breaking Bad, there's a character called Hank. And Ted's kind of a dead ringer for Hank. He's getting tired of me saying that. But you were the one who brought the Hollywood analogy. But Hepta just rocks and rolls. Kenny, they also have a panel shop where they'll do custom-made panels for you, UL-rated panels. So encourage you to check that out as well. And then Automated Integrated, just very impressive guys. Matter of fact, all the 100 integrators that got nominated, we researched a lot of them, and they're just all at the top tier. So I think this might become one of our most prestigious awards going forward, Kenny.
Yeah, I do too, Eric, because again, there's something really weird about our industry. We put a post up, we'll talk about later on here, where, we do so much of the important things to make a civilized country civilized. Pushing air and water through a building, making people so comfortable and so happy. And they don't understand how difficult that is at times. People making all these equipment, different, silos of technology have to be integrated so that they all have a seamless, presentations. The experience for people have, the user experience is that they don't even know how much equipment's there and how there's a constant scaling going on between energy efficiency and customer satisfaction and comfort, and it's really a tremendous engineering effort to make all that happen. And these guys, these systems integrators, are the guys that do it. So yeah, we can't recognize enough of them. So I think we'll see a larger participation. Maybe have to give like the young guns. We'll have to recognize more because there's just so many great contractors out there. And if they get behind it, we got to keep encouraging that, because I believe as we do that, more and more of the folks are getting recognized by their communities, by their families, that this is what their fathers and mothers do for a living. And that's going to continuously help us get to where we want to be as far as attracting new talent to an industry to sustain it. Because one of the last posts we have is from, I will wait for it, but it's compelling statistics that in the year 2020, we will not have enough people to enjoy what we're doing as far as comforts going into big buildings and putting in equipment, making it work. There's just a shortage of technicians. There's a shortage of sales engineers. There's a shortage of people that want to work in our industry. And it's like, why?
Well, I tell you what, yeah. Well, you talk to Dr. Igor Mezic and some of those people, Kenny, that, when we get the artificial intelligence working, that may or may not be an issue, but we'll save that post for a little bit later, because I think the next big announcement we got is March Tritium Talk coming up. We want to mark your calendar for that. This is officially like a mini Ken's calendar. So I'll go, it's Ken's calendar. It's Ken's calendar. Ken's calendar. Oh man, that arm looks like it's hurting, buddy. What do we have about the Tritium Talk? Give him the 411 on that.
I just wanted to, this lends itself right into the Niagara Summit, the Connecting the World. Niagara Summit 2016 is May 15th through May 17th down near New Orleans at the Hyatt Regency. It's going to be a spectacular event. It has everything from the entertainment aspects covered, but the agenda is critical for people in the business. It is probably the who's who in networking, and also with the awesome, formidable, features and benefits of the Niagara 4 as the software platform, but the JACE 8000. So this is all about sharing knowledge and ideas with forums, presentations, and breakout sessions. But the March Tritium Talk is about intelligent alarming. Now, again, this is great when everybody wants to learn about stuff and they don't have time for it. So you'd like to get that short, condensed capsule of information. So that if you're going to spend 45 minutes, you're going to see and hear everything that's germane to what you want to the topic. So we have Tritium Talk, Intelligent Alarming with Niagara Analytics Framework, with sales engineer Ross Schwalm, who's going to do a live demo to learn how to capture real-time data, build and manage intelligent alarms. And I'll tell you what, this is one of the hard but now very doable things at the Niagara 4 level, because they've got some neat stuff. What you could do with Niagara 4 that you couldn't do before is something that is really important and worth your time to see and learn.
Yeah, I think it is, Kenny, because alarms are a little bit like emails, right? You get too many of them, you just ignore them all. So I think this is going to be very, very apropos for people that have just gotten sort of alarm overload. And so this is going to be good stuff. Can't wait for that. And, one of the best things about the Tritium Summit, Kenny, for me anyway, is we'll be down there covering it with Tritium, is that we get to meet so many people there. So I really get a kick out of when somebody comes up and goes, hey, I recognize you from Control Talk Now. Or they go, hey, don't you know Ken Smyers? Can you introduce me, So we love that, and especially with our systems integrators. So if you see us, please come up and say hello. It means a whole lot to us. And again, if you're a systems integrator and you got something to say, or you want our Controltrends community to know about you, we'd love to have you come on the show. Tell us about yourself. So don't be shy about that. We'd love to meet you and sort of go from there. Yes, and I do know Kenny, although I'm a little more accessible than Kenny is, okay? Because Kenny is the man, the myth, the legend. I'm just the other guy. So
Eric's always up with the VIPs. I'm the guy writing the notes for the post. No, I'm kidding. It's a ball, and it is funny when you go see a customer or something, and they say that they watched the show, and we never answered a question or something. So we really appreciate the feedback, because that's where you really know when things are happening.
Well, I love the fact we were in the last summit we were at in Vegas, Kenny. Had some guys from China come up and talk to us and said, "Do they watch us?" But we're banned in China because they're not allowed to watch YouTube. But they were sneaking us in. So
using a VPN or something
like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of cool. We got a great community, global community, and the one thing I can tell you is Kenny and I are very, very appreciative of all of you. So thanks for that, big dog. And let's get now to the vendor of the year. Small manufacturer.
The Controltrends vendor of the year, small manufacturer. Again, heroes, superstars, and they got a place to work. And some of the companies, year in and year out, continue to get better. And ACI won this year, and it's just an incredible story from the origin on. Starting in 1991, ACI has been dedicated to excellence and has grown from 7 employees to 170 qualified individuals with facilities all over the world totaling over 78,000 square feet. They have global offices in Hong Kong and China, and ACI is basically famous for doing the bread and butter components. They do temperature sensors, relative humidity sensors, current transducers and sensors, pressure sensors, gas sensors, wireless related sensors, and of course the product portfolio on the interface devices for your analog rescaling modules to just a host of game-saving devices that make integration possible. So congratulations to ACI and to Barry Gordon and the folks out there, the Schwenz family. Just keep doing it year in, year out. They're committed to their core values, which are service, integrity, pride, and loyalty, and it's paid off.
Well, and I tell you what, for our global community, a lot of times you hear about sort of American values, and I think ACI represents the best of what America's about, right? They're hardworking, they're loyal, just good folks. So again, I'm really happy that they won, and also a special shout out to Scott Cochran. Scott presented this award for both the large and the small manufacturer, and we can't say enough nice about Scott Cochran Supply and Engineering out of Detroit, Michigan. Scott had some nice things to say about the Controltrends Award. So, Scott, we really appreciate all you do for the industry. And so a special shout out to our friend Scott Cochran and the rest of the team at Cochran Supply and Engineering.
All right, next up we have a post with LinkSpring. The LinkSpring Go Further 30-minute with LinkSpring series. This month is March 16th. They will be doing the new BACnet to Haystack data pump. So they've also got some experts there that want to talk about how to make life easier. So the next 30 minutes with LinkSpring is the monthly webinar featuring LinkSpring subject matter experts and special guests, which are scheduled for Wednesday, March 16th. So 30 minutes with LinkSpring would look at BACnet Haystack data pump.
Very, very cool. Mark Peacock and the team at LinkSpring, you can't go wrong with that. And that dovetails right into what Ken Sinclair was talking about earlier with his interview. All right, and then more with training. This is almost like the mini Ken Calendar segment, right?
Well, we have Berlimo guys, the winners of the large manufacturer.
I jumped the gun, Kenny. I jumped the gun. All right, buddy.
That's good.
That's what happens when I try to drive, man. I just need to sit back and let you do it. My job here is to go, what's up next, Kenny? So what's up next, Kenny?
I'm sorry. I can't deviate. I could have, if I was more flexible, I could have just went over that screen first.
No, you're right. You're right.
I'm sorry.
You're doing great, man.
Okay, Eric, next up we have the 2015 Controltrends Awards highlight. Berlimo wins Vendor of the Year, Large Manufacturer. And I'll tell you what, you talk about big awards and important awards. There was nobody happier and just prouder than Gary Weber when he took the stage to pick that up. On behalf of Berlimo, they just got just a tremendous staff. The new facility up there in Danbury, Connecticut is an eye-opener. It is the state-of-the-art, roboticized manufacturing facility and shipping port. So they're doing it all. They're doing it all right. What do you think about this? And I see we got a typo there, so I'm going to fix that right away. Tell us some good stuff about Berlimo, Eric?
Well, I tell you what, I mean, they're the consummate manufacturer. They've got a niche they're really, really good at in terms of their valves and actuators. The stuff works. We competed against Berlimo for a long time with other vendors because everybody sort of went after them, and they would come out with lower prices and everything else, and it was just difficult to get them to change because Berlimo does such a great job. Again, you're talking about a company, the best of a global company in terms of their values. These guys work hard. They make good products. They support them. And they're a joy to work with. So again, very deserving company, Berlimo. I had one vendor once that said to me, they were trying to put together a marketing plan to compete against Berlimo. This is back before we handled them. And they said, what should we do? I said, paint your actuators orange. And they went, what? I said, paint them orange. I said, you at least got a chance then. And they go, what are you talking about? I said, well, people come to the counter. I said, give me one of those orange actuators, because Belimo actuators are orange. But not that other people haven't gotten better over the years, but Belimo just continues to lead the pack. And their Belimo Energy Valve, to me, is a game-changing product, Kenny. We have quite a few posts on Controltrends regarding the Belimo Energy Valve, which solves a lot of problems, saves energy. But very, very clever folks. And Lars van der Hagen, who we'll talk a little bit about more a little bit later in the show, one of the all-time just great people in our industry. So I'm very, very happy for Belimo.
Yep, me too. And, we lead right into it again. Part of the reason why Belimo is so successful is not only do they, have the innovation to change an industry, with the direct coupled actuators, they've got, the deep roots of engineering. They know exactly how things move, how air and water move through a building, and they study it and they master it, and then they share it. And the next post is that the fire and smoke product release in essential retrofit applications. This, of course, is by Belimo. So part of the success formula, I believe, is to make the good products. And it's like you said, everybody makes good products now. And to set the precedence, everybody has a 5-year warranty on their actuators. But now, how do you educate the people, the users, contractors, and the distributors to understand what goes where and when and how to retrofit things and what the requirements are? So Belimo comes through with these great webinars that really and truly inform, these informational style things that really bring you up to speed on what are your choices and what the feature benefits are certain with product sets and why these actuators and these, there's different requirements for
Kenny, I want
smoke and fire applications.
Right. I want to hop in here because this is really a liability thing. The thing about your smoke and fire dampers is you never know whether they're working or not unless you have a fire. But there are requirements that would have you be very, very liable. In other words, if there's a fire and your dampers are not working and you don't have documented that you've tested these actuators out, you could be in a really, really bad spot. And I think that's part of what they're going to cover here. But Belimo has a really nice smoke and fire damper retrofit kit, very easy to do. But these are the type of things that, kind of like we talk about cybersecurity, maybe even more so, that you actually have to be able to document that you've tested these things in the unfortunate event that there's a fire. So I encourage you to check this out.
Yep, and I agree with you. That's why I don't speak lightly when we talk about these things. And to me, you're only as smart as the last time you got trained. In other words, the things about these is that there's nothing static. There's new regulations, there's new requirements, and part of the job is to stay on top of them, and then find out what products are, with UL listing. If you take a product out, when you put a new product in, you lose your UL listing. We learned a lot about that from ISA, and then so there are retrofit solutions that can meet the requirements, meet the codes, and still bring about savings on the actual cost of the components. If you replace everything like for like, you might be paying a very large ticket that you didn't need to pay. So that's all part of that learning process I'm trying to explain.
Well, I totally got it. Now, let me ask you a question, Kenny. If you compare Controltrends personnel to, executives and all, to Hollywood actors. I mean, obviously Roger Rebanek is a dead ringer for Jack Nicholson. Eugene Mazzo's got those suave Hollywood looks, but who would be our next sort of Hollywood sort of executive?
I think you're referring to the president and CEO at J2 Innovations and the winner of the Executive of the Year Small Manufacturer, Mr. Jason Briggs.
Mr. Jason Briggs. Doesn't he remind you a little bit of Keanu Reeves and The Matrix, right? I mean, you're the one. He's the one. What do you think?
Well, I think you got somebody who really truly started, from the ground level up, established himself in the contracting world, felt the intense, concern and dissatisfaction with things not ending and finishing correctly. And really being able to move the football into the end zone. And so what Jason has done is he's taken the knowledge and the experience that he got, hands-on, and then taken it to the next level, where he actually produced a product, the J2 Innovations products, that now help him, help the whole industry put together the most comprehensive, framework to do a project, manage a project, with the graphics tool project, and even more. They've got more of this. The FinStack thing now has taken off. J2 has now found its way through the OEM channels. They're now an OEM base with Siemens, with KMC, with EasyStack, and they're global. They did training
really
over
are.
there in India, Mumbai, right during that the ACRIX 2016. So well done, Jason.
Yeah, Jason Briggs is a cool guy. Him and Scott Mintz, J2 Innovation, J2N.com. These guys are great. And I tell you what, the thing I love most about Jason, he put his arms around those two models and they refuse to be paid. They just have Jason hugs us again. We won't charge you guys. So you got to watch the video to see that. But you got to look closely, okay? But Jason is a charmer and a brilliant guy. So and as well, they were platinum sponsors this year. So we very much appreciate J2 Innovation for their support for the Control Trends Awards.
All right, again, we're top heavy on the Control Trends Awards 2015, but that's for a good reason. And there's just so many important things to say. We can't overlook anybody, but again, things happen for a reason, and cause and effect. The reason why we've mentioned Belimo winning the large manufacturer support of the year, talked about why, because they just put on another webinar on how to train people on the DCAs used in special applications. But then the 2015 Control Trends Awards highlight. One of the most important highlights, even though Lars was not able to be there, was Lars van der Hagen winning the Executive of the Year manufacturer. Executive of the Year large manufacturer. And as we all know, Lars was promoted to Belimo's, the headquarters there in Switzerland, but he had run Belimo Americas for many years, and that explains some of the success. So, probably in consideration of that success in North America market, he was elevated to the top position as the CEO of Belimo. So, congratulations to Lars van der Hagen, Belimo, and all the Belimo people that made that possible. I'm sure he's a very generous guy as far as you don't do that kind of stuff alone, but by the same token, the executive leadership transcends the organization, and he had always made a positive impact everywhere he went. Every time I see Lars speaking, every time I see him support the videos his staff makes. I mean, this guy is really hands-on and did a great job, and he deserved by far the CEO of the year.
Yeah, very, very happy to see Lars win that. Lars, very accommodating. You can see him. He's done interviews with us on Control Trends, but, visionary, extremely smart guy, but at the same time, just a very classy individual. If you see him with the Marilyn Monroe video that we did a couple of years of the Control Trends Awards, Lars sort of rolls with the punches a little bit, and just a great guy. It's a fun guy to be around. So again, very, very happy for Lars. Congratulations. And Kenny, that we're sort of winding down here, and just sort of a last sort of thing about the Control Trends Awards. We've been sort of top heavy with these videos the last 2 or 3 weeks because we really wanted to get them out. We'll be winding these up next week. We have a crescendo video, like Kenny mentioned, that should be coming out next week, and we got a couple more videos, and that'll be it for this year's awards. Then we'll get back to sort of business as usual. But we really want to make sure that all the superstars in our industry get their due. If you're going to come to the Control Trends Awards and get videoed, we want to make sure that it gets some play time.
Eric, you're right, and the importance of the Control Trends Awards. Again, one of the personal objectives I had, and we agreed to it when we had our first rendezvous there, was to bring attention to the industry because the industry needs help. We need more talent. We need more younger people. We need a better system of getting into the 7th and 8th grades or 6th grades and finding out people that have mechanically inclined, and we need to bring them into our industry by leaps and bounds. And our next 2 posts are relevant to that. Our next post is Johnson Controls white paper, Changing Demographics in the HVACR Industry. And this is a very, very important white paper written by Renee Joseph. We'll talk about her position with Johnson here in a second, but we're delighted to put this kind of seminal piece out for as much dissemination as possible, because this is a factual and profoundly informative accounting of what the current state of the union address is for our HVAC industry. And we need to really take this seriously because we are an industry that offers abundant careers with excellent growth potentials. We have satisfying intellectual challenges. We have meaningful benefits to society at large. And we also have very solid financial rewards. So, what is going on when we can't get enough people to effectively deal with the projected shortfalls facing our industry? Now, there's 2 or 3, statistical informations that I wanted to just really quickly highlight on because you have to read this post. Please come to our post. You'll read the first quarter of it on our site, and then you go to her to the actual full white paper because it's too large to put onto a WordPress post. But we have an incredible challenge ahead. We have a workforce development foundation site that has twice as many job postings as the oil and gas industry. We have a large number of middle-skilled jobs that cannot be offshored or replaced by technology. Why do these worker shortages exist? One of the reasons is that the HVACR industry is growing so fast. We are projecting a 21% increase in HVACR mechanical and installer jobs through the year 2022, nearly twice the projected growth of all other employment. So, and now we have this great news, but guess what's happening? So we see another statistic saying the U.S. Social Security Administration estimates that 22% of the nation's overall workforce will retire by the year 2022. Closer to home, a survey by the Friday Group, an international firm providing facility management consulting services to commercial businesses and governments, projected that up to 60% of the facility management staff, electricians, plumbers, HVAC mechanics, operation and maintenance workers, and others will retire in the next 5 to 7 years. Now, to me, ding, 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 we have a problem, Houston.
Yeah, I think we do, Kenny. I think we do. And again, this is where, our efforts along with people like Ken Sinclair to attract younger people into the industry, I think are really, really relevant. So again, thank you so much for that post. And Kenny, let's rock and roll to the last one. We're kind of getting up against it here, brother.
We sure do. Okay, well, the next one is that the changing demographics in HVAC and facility management workforce. We have the NFMT meeting in Baltimore coming up in March here. It actually starts March 23rd, and this is a place where you can go to and learn about how to deal with all the trends that are affecting this negative workforce. So the statistics, in other words, there's reasons for it. And a lot of them are not good. A lot of them are kind of cultural, and we need to get by it. A lot of them have to do with we don't have enough women involved. So there's some real graphic information that you can get from that post. And that sums it up, Eric. That's going to bring it to a close here.
Well, very, very good, Kenny Smyers. I sure do appreciate that. So with that, Kenny, we're going to call it another week. Again, very special thanks to our guest, Ken Sinclair from AutomatedBuildings.com. Be sure to check out his March issue. And thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Eric Stromquist, and as usual, I've been joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Kenny Smyers. So with that, have a great week, and remember, stay in control.
Indeed, Eric.
Indeed, Kenny Smyers.